How you guys doing? Honey, wanna tell you I got some more tea for you guys. When it comes to Jaguar Wright, you guys heard that Morgan had to come out and apologize to Jay-Z and Beyonce. Yeah, you heard it right. Jay-Z and Beyonce made Mr. Morgan edit out Jaguar Wright's claiming that Jay-Z and Beyonce, they are monsters too. And I have the clip for those of you that may not remember exactly what they said. We're going to listen to that clip and we're going to hear what Morgan had to say. Now, a lot of people were very surprised because they feel that Morgan's show is for to be the voice of the people. And a lot of people feel like he has cowered. And I wanted to know, what are your thoughts about it? We also have Beyonce and Jay-Z's attorney, their representative. He is speaking out and he has something to say. Guess who else got something to say? Don Lemon. Out of all people, Don Lemon is coming out and is coming for Jaguar Wright. When I tell you the gay mafia of Hollywood is so upset at Jaguar Wright, honey, it is a mess out here in these streets. And did you guys hear this? That Diddy is trying to get another appeal. And guess what? People are saying he might get it. So I want to cover all this in this video. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot. And I just want to let you guys know, thank you all from the bottom of my heart for your love, for the cash apps. I really appreciate that. So let's see what we have here in store. And I might stop and go. All right? So let's see.
Scam. I'm saying that now, publicly. Dream Hampton spearheaded the Surviving R. Kelly campaign, which it fueled the Me Too campaign. And that was all funded by Sean Carter to make sure that Robert Kelly went to jail. Get his lick back. Why is nobody understanding that Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter? They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly. How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's right there. If the Me Too movement were real, why aren't they speaking now? They've also been very quiet in this time of the diddler's downfall.
Jaguar,
guess they're on vacation.
If this goes to court, Jaguar, do you think that the world is going to be shocked by what comes out?
Oh, absolutely. I just don't know why they are. It's been happening in front of everyone's faces for decades. For decades.
How many victims?
What's the difference between me and Judy Garland? Social media.
That's old school.
How many victims?
There was none for her.
How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands. Thousands. I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well.
Think about platforms. The reality of the modern world is that pretty much everyone has a platform as long as there's something to say that other people want to hear. That's why we invited her on to be interviewed. The people making these claims have an audience with or without shows like mine. Well, Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves, but now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored, but like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too, and we apologise to Jay-Z and Beyonce. Well, now Sean Diddy.
You don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
Shout out D. Haven. He actually hit us up, wanted to tell this story.
You need to talk to D. Haven.
We need to talk to him.
I told you that last year when I put you on the phone with him.
You did.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who was a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who was a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened. And yet, they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it. Think of the power of that moment. Think about Claudia Jordan right now. Claudia Jordan don't ever mention the name. She mentioned it yesterday. Talking about why people are afraid to come forward. You mean like you? You was Diddy girl. Corey was Jay-Z girl. Why don't you claim your friend?
Wright claims that both Snoop Dogg and Diddy have alleged.
Hold on, I have to put something in this video. Recently, Free, the lady who she's talking about, she comes out and she states that she did not have a baby by Jay-Z, okay? She claims she has no biological kids, but I think it's a lie. Wendy Williams knew what she was talking about, and I would like to play that clip right here. Free came out today. We know that Diddy, he's been making a lot of phone calls, threatening people, and you bet your dollar that Jay-Z and Beyonce, they have been doing the same, tighten up every loose end. I don't know how much they paid that lady to say those lies, but I want you guys to listen here.
Where's the kid? You know, I be reading it all the way thinking y'all got a real question. Cut it out. I'll say it one time. Free has no biological children. You cotton picking fools! Cotton picking nuts.
Free gave birth Monday. 50 and Jay-Z was there. She gave birth in Brooklyn at Methodist Hospital. Who do we shout out to? Oh, hell. Beyonce. Oh. What you gonna do now, B? Let's get some flowers together to send over to Methodist Hospital. Congratulations to Free.
Right.
Let's get some keep your head up flowers together to send over to Beyonce. And some damn you flowers to send over to Jay-Z.
Harmed people who stand in their way. The suggestion here is that both stars have a history of intimidating or silencing individuals to maintain their positions in the industry. Jaguar Wright also gives a shout out to talk show host Wendy Williams for bringing attention to the concept of homo thugs in Hollywood. a term Williams used to refer to closeted gay men who maintain hyper-masculine personas in public. Was Wendy Williams ahead of the curve in exposing these secrets?
The social media platforms, but when you get on an actual network, when you get on a TV station or the radio, when you get on a platform that is attached to a larger corporation, now that corporation is liable for the things that are being said on their platform. Right. And now it makes sense for your lawyer to intervene and potentially sue because there is something to gain. Right. There's nothing to gain from suing Joe Blow on YouTube that's just running his mouth. True. You know
and that's what most people don't understand. A lot of these people that do these claims and do these accusations and do these things on their platform don't have anything. It'll cost you more money to sue them than they actually own. Now, it might look like they have this and have that, but most of that stuff is all false. They don't own half the stuff that they say. They don't have cars. They don't have bank accounts. They don't have homes. So it's half the time it don't make any sense suing those people.
Well, let me tell you who got the money to see if they, like, even if it don't make sense, a Jay-Z and a Beyonce. Those are, like, I think that's another thing too, is like, you got to understand that there's levels to this, like who you're dealing with, like, and people will defend their names because that is their business. That is how they make their money.
But think about how much stuff Jay-Z and Beyonce ignore.
Yeah, right.
The reason they didn't ignore it this time is because of the platform it was set on.
100%.
It was set on a platform that they can actually sue, a platform that is actually liable. And I see people say things all the time like, well, if the person is lying, why don't they get sued? Because suing a brokey costs you money. Suing somebody who don't have anything to lose is a waste of your time and resources.
Your money and your resources and your time.
I'm just saying, it don't matter unless you just, whatever, man.
That somebody comes on a show and then kind of levels these vague-ish allegations. Were you kind of ready for something like this to eventually happen?
Listen, there's rumors and then there's nonsense, and this is one step further, right? This is a pointed and formal accusation of something, and I felt it needed to be responded to. So I think somebody reported it was a cease and desist. It wasn't that. It was quite bluntly an ultimatum, which is remove that false accusation that's demonstrably false, or a court's going to order you to. And so I think he made the wise choice and acted accordingly.
He meaning Piers Morgan.
Removing it and apologizing for it, yes. What changed here in my mind is that somebody on a so-called journalistic platform exploited that kind of random rumor mill, whether it's disconnected from reality or what have you, and lifted it up. And by doing that, they not only caused harm here, but they are also droning out the voices of real victims. And by doing that to get clicks, he didn't just harm the Carters. What he did effectively was to drone out the voices of actual victims in an ongoing case, in an ongoing investigation. And that was too much for me.
Are you in the process of making sure that it is taken down everywhere?
What I am here to say is that in a situation as serious as this, somebody who puts themselves out as a journalist should not effectively take advantage of the situation and exploit somebody in this way. And so that's the real reason for action.
Does it strike you a little bit that there's been a lot of silence in Hollywood in the wake of all of this?
Well, as to the Carters, I can tell you that when they put their foot down on something as they did here, they are sending a message. And if they can't stand up and
the people are going online and going on television, having fun with that Diddy story, making up all kinds of stories and allegations. Well, you better be careful about what you say because Beyonce and Jay-Z, they're not messing around. If you don't believe me, watch this clip from Piers Morgan. He found out the hard way.
And you told me that he might have a shot at this, and I wanted to break down what this means for folks who are sort of confused. What do you mean he's going to get out on appeal? Everyone sort of thought he lost that appeal and he was going to be there till trial, but he's now making some new claims. Can you explain to the audience?
Sure. Just so a little bit of background, because I know we have viewers from all different places with different systems. Here in federal court in the United States, there is no absolute right to bail, meaning that the government can hold a criminal defendant in detention, in custody, awaiting their trial. But we also have to balance that against the fact that there's a presumption of innocence in the United States. So, the prosecutor has to establish these charges beyond a reasonable doubt to a jury, and he maintains a presumption of innocence until that happens, which could be way far between then. So how do we hold him in jail? Well, normally these people would be released. They would post a bond, where basically an insurance company would step up and say, hey, if Diddy doesn't show up in court, he flees, we'll pay all this money. Diddy offered a $50 million bond. So that's a lot of money to secure his promise to appear. Of course, he has a lot more money than that, so would that dissuade him? That's what the government said. But also we got to keep in mind that his homes were raided 6 months ago. And so he clearly knew that he was in the crosshairs of the government for at least 6 months. He didn't flee. And as a matter of fact, he arranged through his lawyer to surrender in court in New York. He was there in a hotel room the night before he was arrested, waiting to show up in court to be booked. And we all saw that the government swooped in, grabbed him out of his hotel room, and arrested him the night before he was going to voluntarily surrender. So to me, that looked like a guy who was going to appear in court. And since they went against the plan, apparently, for him to surrender and swooped in and took him, it appeared to me right at the moment that they must have believed that he was trying to intimidate or dissuade witnesses from testifying. And that'd be a really good reason to hold him in custody. And that's exactly what the government said. Now, he went to a hearing. The judge heard some argument and said, no, we're going to hold you in custody. And that was remarkable because a lot of these rich guys get out. Now, the thing is, there was a hearing, but how much time did Diddy have to really prepare for that? Not much. The government holds all the cards. So now he's filed an appeal, and this goes to a higher court. Under federal law, that appellate court has to do an independent review of it. So they're not going to defer to what the trial court said. They're going to say, give me your evidence, give me the arguments, both sides, and we, appellate court, will make a decision. And I think he has a decent shot at it, and we can get into some of the reasons for it in a minute.
Well, it's interesting because many people have said, that this was all part of the plan so they could get more people to come forward, because we've seen many people come forward, RICO charges, etc., that he's kind of like a mafia boss and he still has control and power. And so people are just afraid. And yes, during that hearing, they made it sound like he was intimidating witnesses. But now we're discovering through this document, which we don't actually have, but we're reading through sources. But Chris, you said there was a point here where he may not have even been able to, he may not have even met some of these witnesses that or knew of these witnesses that they allege he was reaching out and harassing.
Honey, when I tell you, a lot of stuff is coming down the pipeline, isn't it? I just don't know. Comment, I want to know what are your thoughts about everything. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot. And I'll see you guys on another video. Bye.